In 1517, Mikołaj Kopernik, otherwise known as Nicholas Copernicus, the Polish astronomer, developed the quantity theory of money. In 1752, David Hume restated it in his book On Money. And Nobel Prize winner Milton Friedman and Anna Schwartz in the Monetary History of the United States in 1963 again restated it. However, the quantity theory of money goes further back than that. Quantity theory of money goes back to the beginning of time. It's very simple. If you increase the amount of money in circulation, the price level increases. That's the quantity theory of money. There's a proportional increase in the price level in relation to the money supply. In the time of Augustus Caesar, the Roman coin was 95% silver. The Romans devalued it, and in the time of Diocletian, and in 352 AD, that silver coin was 5% silver. In 1787, the US dollar was worth $1. Most of the 19th century, on and off, we were on the gold standard. In 1913, that $1 was worth $1.06. Federal Reserve was created in 1913, 1914. We are on a fiat currency system. The money supply is increasing. That same dollar is worth 3 cents today. So the dollar is devalued. Prices go up. You may not notice it because it goes up so subtly. Now, the quantity theory of money, the equation, it's stated, there's the Cambridge equation, the Fisher equation, but the simplest form is M, which represents the money supply, times the V is the velocity of money, the amount of money in circulation, how many times it changes hands, equals P, the price level, times real GDP, Y. So let's look at first real GDP. When you increase the money supply, whether it's in the Weimar Republic or Venezuela, when they increase the money supply, it doesn't make workers work harder. It doesn't make factories output more. So that's why real GDP is constant. Real GDP doesn't change. The idea, I guess, is to provide some liquidity in the system so people have confidence when you increase the money supply. But really there's another agenda, and that's usually demonetizing decreasing the value of the currency, monetizing the debt, and in a sense that's a tax on the poor. That's another conversation. So today we have an increase in M1 and M2, M1 being cash and coins and M2 being actually a broader definition of money. But both of them have increased exponentially, and yet we don't see the CPI or the PCE increasing in prices. Why is that? I personally see it at the store, but the official statistics, Bureau of Labor and Statistics, or the Federal Reserve doesn't manifest that. And it's probably because by a massive substitution effect. People substitute high quality goods for low quality goods, or other reasons. But right now there's no manifestation of that. There's huge asset price inflation in the stock market, real estate. So people take this increased money supply and put it in, let's say, tech stocks. Another reason is the velocity of money is decreasing. That means you can create the money, but if it's sitting in bank reserves, then that doesn't actually increase the money supply. It has to be demand driven also. It's like there's supply and demand. The sound of one hand clapping doesn't make sense, but it does when there's supply and demand. There's two sides to the equation. Now, one thing you want to note about this is prices increasing. If you increase the money supply once, that's an increase in the price level. It has to be sustained. It has to be a conscious, continuous, sustained increase in the money supply for the prices to go up. The quantity theory of money, does it hold water scientifically and academically? And the answer is yes. Long-term scientific academic studies show on cross-sectional data that the money supply increases correspond with price level increases. But the key thing is the long run. It's a long-run study. These are long-run phenomena. So if the Federal Reserve increases the money supply, let's say M1, as it does today, we may not see these prices yet. The other thing is we're kind of in a new economy. Things are operating a little bit different than the classical times. So when they increase money supply, there's always the first receivers and the last receivers of money. Money isn't neutral. So money goes into the hands of the banks, which hold it as reserves, or they reinvest it, or companies that buy back their own stock, push the stock higher, goes into the hands of the wealthy, but it doesn't trickle down to the hands of the poor. So that's why monetizing the debt is a tax on the poor in one sense. Prices go up, wages lag significantly. So the quantity theory of money is very useful in a broad sweep of the brush. And economists are not great prognosticators because everybody will tell you a different story. However, we have to look at the classical economists to see what is really going on. And the classical economists say that the quantity theory of money is a long-run theory. So what's going to happen in the short run, in the intermediate term? And that's relevant because who knows how long the long run is? In the words of Keynes, in the long run, we're all dead. So Knut Wicksell, 1898, developed a theory on interest rates in his book, Interest and Prices. And it was subsequently developed further by the Austrian School of Economics under Ludwig von Mises, Prices in Production, 1912, and Hayek. And the idea was that interest rates tell the intermediate story. When interest rates, and not just the bank rate, but the natural rate of interest compared to the bank rate of interest, the market rate of interest, this will tell you where prices are going. So if you're looking for a theory that is going to explain prices, look at the natural rate of interest. The quantity theory of money is a simple theory, and yet it works in the long run. It's very interesting to note academically. But I wouldn't go investing in a particular style or way or buy gold or not buy gold. I personally like gold, based on the quantity theory of money alone. Look at the other side of the equation, and that's why the Federal Reserve right now is not too concerned about accelerated inflation. Now, the other reason is inflation is just not an increase in prices. In the broadest sense, inflation is preventing prices from declining, because the natural rate of things as we increase efficiency, technology, and production, and logistics and specialization, as prices should decline, it should make it easier for the middle class, the average person, because prices are declining. And yet, when you increase the quantity of money, it forces prices not to decline. So in a sense, that is inflation. So that's the quantity theory of money. M times V equals P times Y. Increase the money supply, and you will increase the price level, create distortions in the market, create a business cycle, and bring the economy further away from money macro equilibrium. Thank you very much.